everybody. It's Dr. Kathy. How are you today? We are talking about 1 to 10 attractiveness scale. We talked about attractiveness, physical and facial attractiveness. Now we're going to talk about the scale that they use to judge, to decide, to rank who is attractive and who is not. Now, remember we said that being attractive is subjective and depends on your culture, your personality, your upbringing, your personality personally. It's really more of knowing that all that stuff came together to decide and make you and make you prefer a particular look, right? A particular beauty. Now, obviously, the attractiveness is really something that can be different from culture to culture and across the world. But they do say there is some similarity. I'm not going to get into that right now. What I want to focus on is for you to understand, why am I talking about attractiveness? Because I want you to be sexually fluent, active, comfortable, have that big orgasm so that you will be able to know that you are confident in your attractiveness and that whoever you're with also loves your attractiveness too. Okay, and you love theirs. Okay, so I want you to think about this. You are really supposed to be more comfortable in whatever you look like. I don't care what you look like. Whatever you look like, love yourself, do you. But I do want you to be honest with yourself and know where you lie in the scale of attractiveness so that you can intervene and do things about it, especially where there are things you can do. And we're going to talk about that a little bit down here. For example, your personality, smiling, right? Being able to be kind. We talked about that before. Go back and listen to my talk from before on both physical attractiveness and facial attractiveness. Great information. And remember, being average is enough, right? Being average is the best as far as I'm concerned, because you have that genetic diversity that you can pass on to your offspring. Don't forget, because if you're too extreme on the right side where you're, very beautiful, or too extreme on the low side where you're not, there are things that you can carry on that are bad, right? They call it deleterious genes that are not good. You can pass that on more than the average bear, than the average person. Studies show that, okay? So just remember, being beautiful is great, but being symmetrical, being average is even better, okay? All right, so 1 to 10 attractiveness scale. So the 1 to 2 level or rank is the lowest, okay? And you see deformities there, and they're fixed. That means you see things that they were probably born with, or maybe they did have an accident and it happened later on in life, but it's fixed and you can't change it and it's there, okay? So that number 1, number 2, and again, there really is very, not too many people that have the 1 or 2 level of attractiveness, but I can't even imagine 1, but they say 2 is really where you really start. Lowest level of attractiveness, deformities are fixed, extremely unattractive, okay? And this is very rare, and I don't know whether you're going to call them ugly, right? Think of some of the movies, right? The Hunchback of Notre Dame, stuff like that. So do you really see them in real life? They're there, but they're not very common. So you really want to know that that is something we shouldn't be really too concerned about, okay? Second level or the third level, very unattractive. They might have some deformities, but they're mild, not too many. And they'll have some flaws, okay? So some flaws, yeah, there could be the skin, there could be the nose in the wrong shape or size. So there are some flaws. Could be the ears a little bit too big or a little bit too small. But you really want to make sure that they are really people that try to not do much about it. It's like almost like they give up, right? Some people say that hygiene, people that walk around, they don't really care about themselves. They're in that category of being very unattractive. Maybe the homeless, right? And I really pray for the homeless and hope they can get help because they need psychological help. But you're probably going to see a lot of that in that area where there are, some mild deformities, even in the mind, right? But again, I'm sure you can find, handsome people and attractive people down there too. But my issue here is that it again is not something that you're going to see a lot of, but of course it's more than the first and second, okay? And when you are thinking about them, you really can do a little bit to help them, not much, but some, depending on what the flaw is, depending on what the deformity is, because it is mild. Sometimes you can fix them. Okay. Then number 4, conventionally unattractive. So these are the guys that we say they really are not attractive, and we just walk right by them, or we just don't look at them, and they're not doing anything or showing anything that's scary, but they are just not noticeable, right? So they're unflattering features, and they can be ugly, right? And they could be, what we say, a little ugly, right? And they can really sort of like turn us off, right? But again, can they do something to improve it? Absolutely. I believe everyone can. Okay. So they are below average. So average is 5. So 4 is below average. So there's some help. They can get some help and improve it, depending on what needs to be improved. And there are so many things that one can do. I would get professional advice in terms of what you want to do to make yourself more attractive. And there are people on the internet that talk a lot about being attractive and what you can do to improve it. Okay. All right. So number 5, average. So out of 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we got 5, average. The average is plain. They're neither attractive or unattractive. They're neither one. It's like, again, close to number 4, where they're sort of like people you walk by, but they're a little bit better. There's more hope with them. I think they're just plain. And when they're plain, that's okay, because they don't generate any too much in you in terms of, oh dear, I've got to move away, or oh dear, I really need to move towards, right? So these are the guys that are you're not scared of. You're really simply, you might even want to be friends with them because they're so innocent, sort of like, right? But it's important to know that the average is what we talked about yesterday and the day before, a few days ago, that you are going to find that because they are the most common, the average people that walk around have the most common average attractiveness. They have genes that are actually healthier than those that are on the extreme of either end. Okay, I'm going to say it again. Research says that the average bears, the average guys and gals, really are more symmetrical and have more genes that are good for us, and also diverse, which means our children, the offspring, will be actually very, very healthy in terms of not only survival, but their immune system too, which is important in terms of survival, okay? So that average is okay, and they can also improve depending on what's going on with them. Again, they can get professional help, get a coach, get someone that will step in, even have, prosthetic cosmetic procedures and have things done. And again, we can go back into what they can do, but generally, if they are average, there's hope, right? So there's an advantage of not only getting good stuff from them genetically, but also knowing that, hey, they can up the ante and move up a level or two, right? And remember, when we do improve these attractive levels, we're going to be able to date more. We'll have more choices, right? So that's very important for you to remember. Wherever you feel you fall, you can always improve it if you want to, okay? All right. Number 6, attractive, more good looks than bad looks. So they're more than the average, right? They actually can get by, and you'll say, hey, pretty cute, right? So they are not bad, they are above average, and they are attractive. They're cool, right? Now they can make it more, remember that. But at this point, the 6 is just attractive, unlike the 5 that is like neither here nor there. But number 6 is more attractive, and you're going to say, all right, I can swing with this, basically, because that person doesn't have too many flaws or anything that's going to make you feel that the person is not attractive. So basically attractive. Number 7, very attractive. Now we're approaching the people that are getting more on that rare, distinct end, right? That extreme end of the spectrum. So again, we're supposed to be very aware that, yeah, I know science says that the average is healthier, right? Medically healthy. But these guys, of course, we all know this is all subjective and it's all depending on the individual and the person. But these guys are the ones that are basically beautiful and we stare at and we want to be and we want to look like, right? So, number 7, very attractive. They get approached a lot and they get a lot of compliments, right? At times, okay? They don't get it all the time, they get it at times. All right. So they're very attractive and they know it and they can up the ante again. They can get even more attractive. But the 7 is very attractive and they are not bothered by people too much, but they know that they can get what they want sometimes from life because they know they're a little bit above average, actually a little bit more than a little bit above average. They're above average, and so they can use that attractiveness to get them places in life, right? So very, very important to know when you're very attractive. And you'll know because people will tell you that, right? You get compliments and you get approached a lot. Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful, or you're so handsome, right? Again, not a lot, but infrequently you do get those compliments. Number 8, they're the ones that get approached a lot and get the compliments. Extremely attractive, approached frequently, and complimented frequently. Okay? So they are the ones that, whoa, people are going to stop and say, oh my gosh, you're beautiful or you're handsome. Okay? So if you're one like that, you're going to know it because you've already experienced it, right? So extremely attractive is going into the celebrities and going into the stars and people that are using their beauty as an advantage on TV. And they are very, very rare, meaning you don't get a lot of 8s walking around, but we can see them, okay? Not as much as the average, but we can see them. And when we do, we acknowledge that they are beautiful, okay? Number 9, near perfection. And number 10, perfection, okay? These are the ones we hardly see. If you've seen one, it's like you're going to gawk. You're going to just keep on staring and say, oh my gosh, unreal. So the 9, near perfection, highly attractive, and again, rare. The 10 is perfection, which I don't know whether anyone has seen. Maybe you have. That would be awesome if you have. But they're perfect, the highest attractiveness ever possible, and extremely rare too. Okay. Of course, you think of a few actresses out there and actors out there that have a 10, but for me, it is again very rare. And I go scientifically and think, if it's very rare, do they have things going on genetically that might be a disadvantage? And again, that's what science indicates, okay? All right. So that's it for the 10 ways of being judged or ranked in terms of attractiveness. And this is general attractiveness, both physical and facial. I didn't differentiate which is which, but it's important for you to know that the scale is subjective to cultural and personal preferences. So you, yourself, everybody has their own cultural and personal preferences and can swing it either way. These numbers, no, I don't agree with you. Oh yeah, I agree with you, okay? And I also want to note that the body language, nonverbal cues, when you're talking to somebody and you watch how their body moves, that can affect their attractiveness. Their personality, you all know that already, right? Go and do that quiz. Your personality can tell you whether you're attractive or not. And you can improve your attractiveness by improving your personality, okay? Cleanliness, whether you're clean, right? Whether you're clean not only in your environment, but personally clean. Hygiene can make you come back down if you're not taking care of your grooming, right? Environment, very important. Where you are, the situation you're surrounding yourself in. Again, I mentioned the homeless versus people that are living in a penthouse. So very important. They can skew your assessment of their attractiveness, and that is normal. Okay. Weight, if you're overweight, underweight, that can affect your attractiveness. Hormones, your hormones got to be checked, got to know whether they're balanced because they can affect your beauty. Attitude, your attitude, how you walk around, whether you're nice, whether you're mean, very important in terms of whether you're aloof and whether you ignore people or whether you smile and say hello, right? Are you charming? That can affect your attractiveness. Wit, your smarts, right? You've got to be smart, right? To make yourself look more attractive. Humor, I love humor. Making people laugh, and laughing is great in terms of making you more attractive. Smell, now the smell is amazing because You can smell pheromones, you can smell perfume, you can also smell the histocompatibility complex, which is where your immune system is actually assessed by smell. So that is sort of subconscious or unconscious, but smell is very important unknowingly when it comes to choosing your mate too. Social skills, being able to work in society is very important. Your finances can affect your attractiveness because, of course, with money you can make and do things in terms of surgery to make yourself more beautiful, right? Occupation, the job you're at, and of course, how you dress, all that comes around that occupation. Emotional IQ, how emotional you are or how calm you are can make you appear so just amazingly beautiful, right? So being calm is key, not losing your control and losing your temper. I've said that so many times before. You do not want to be wild and throw things and shout and scream. It just makes you look terribly ugly. And now you know, okay? All right. And so there are more that can influence attractiveness subjectively. Very, very crucial for you to note because I want you to make yourself extremely attractive and enjoy yourself with your partner so that both of you can have a long lasting relationship and have great, satisfying sexual experiences in the bedroom. Now, I also have one or two questionnaires. So I'm going to go through them real quick. Give me a second. All right, this first questionnaire is by Vivian Diller and Harold Estroff. This is called the Physical Attractiveness Survey. They wanted to know, with all this knowledge that we have on being attractive, is it really something that we are supposed to be looking at as life or death? Is it something that will completely destroy us as we get older? So I want you to hear some of the questions that they had because they were getting older and they saw changes in of course celebrities and people going from being beautiful to not being as beautiful, but their grace carried them through and they wanted to know whether we in our knowing whether we're attractive or not attractive or trying to be attractive, whether we're still grounded and whether we actually know that there is more importance to quality of life and to personality and to relationships than just looks. And they are asking this because they're doing a survey. So I want to just go through some of the questions with you so that you know that this is what you need to be careful with when it comes to attractiveness. Okay? All right, number one, how important, this is part one, number one in part one, how important is physical attractiveness? How important do you think physical attractiveness is in day-to-day social interactions for most people? A, very important. B, moderately important. C, slightly important. D, almost irrelevant. And E, completely irrelevant. Now, obviously, we're going to think it's important because that's what we're all trying to do, have some attractiveness. Number two, what do you consider the most important effect of physical attractiveness for women? Rank these in order of importance, assigning the number one to the most important and six to the least. So they want to know with these next words I'm going to give you and sentences, whether you think they're very, very, very important, which is number one, or not that important, which is number six. It boosts self-esteem. All right, attractiveness and physical attractiveness boosts your self-esteem. Sure. It helps a woman accomplish her goals. Absolutely. It helps women form relationships with others. Yes. It helps women form relationships with men. Absolutely. And it brings happiness, right? So again, we know that this is the key, but what degree is it for you? Do you think this is extremely important or so? Again, you can rank that on your own, okay? Number three, what do you consider the most important effects of physical attractiveness for men? Again, rank these in order of importance. It boosts self-esteem for men. Does it boost their self-esteem? Absolutely. It helps a man accomplish his goals. I believe so, absolutely. It helps men form relationships. Yes, I believe that does happen too, right? With others, right? And it helps men form relationships with women. We know that. It brings happiness, and we know that. And we want to know again whether this is something that is absolutely crucial for you or not so crucial for you. So there's that balance we want to know. So hopefully it's not an extreme thing, is what they're trying to find out in terms of what you think in terms of attractiveness. Okay. Number 4, how important is it for women to maintain their attractiveness as they age? Very important, moderately important, slightly important, almost irrelevant, and completely irrelevant. Number 5, how important is it for men to maintain their attractiveness as they age? Same thing. All right? I think it's important. Number 6, how important would you rate the following measures for maintaining attractiveness? Again, very important, moderately important, slightly important, almost irrelevant, or completely irrelevant. So, how important are these measures for maintaining attractiveness? Exercising, extremely important. Combating stress, extremely important. Maintaining an active, interesting life, extremely important. Avoiding exposure to the skin, absolutely important. Applying skincare creams, yes. Using makeup, oh yes. Coloring hair to cover gray, yes. And the question again is to what degree? You can answer that. Wearing clothes that are attractive, absolutely. Aging naturally. Some people will say, what is natural, right? So that's each their own. I personally feel that some people can and some people can't, right? So sometimes you need help, you step and get some help, and if you don't, then you're lucky. Number 10, undergoing cosmetic plastic surgery. Personally, if needed, absolutely. Okay? Now, that's my personal opinion. Don't take that home. You can judge it your own and decide whether you would do that or not. You don't have to. I just feel that, again, quality of life goes up when you maintain, or at least you try to maintain some attractiveness as you get older. Okay? Number 7, at what age do you think women look their best? And we're going from 20 years old to 65. Now, that is something that I would not myself be able to really gauge. What age? She wants one number between 20 to 24, 25 to 29, 30 to 34, 35 to 39, 40 to 44, 45 to 49, 50 to 54, 55 to 59, 60 to 64, and over 65. Obviously, it's probably in their 20s, right? So, but she's got a 20 to 24, 25 to 29, then 30 to 34. I think 20s, 30s, maybe, depends. But again, to each their own. Each person can look better, later on in life than earlier on when they were younger, right? All right, number 8. Let's see, where's my number 8? 7, 8. What age do you consider old? Same numbers. Okay. I'm going to say 100. All right. I'm sorry. I don't think you're old until you reach that big 100, 100. So that's my personal opinion. Go ahead and choose your own age that you think is old. And it doesn't really matter because it's on the mind, right? Number 9, personal attitudes. I wish I were more attractive. Do you strongly agree? Neutral, disagree, strongly disagree? Physical attractiveness is just as important for older people as for younger ones. Strongly agree, neutral, disagree, strongly disagree. Age gives people access to a new kind of attractiveness. I guess it depends on how you age, right? Same choices. Middle-aged women are more attractive than the media portrayed them. So they're saying here or asking, do you think that they're more attractive than what the media is portraying them as? Same choices. Yeah, I think they are more attractive, but again, it depends on how the upkeep is, how they take care of themselves. So they have to really make sure that you keep yourself healthy and fit and friendly, right? And feminine, right? If you're a female, right? So this is part 2. How do you feel about the way you look? This is part 2. Number 10, how would you rate your physical attractiveness compared with others your age? Much more attractive, about the same, less attractive, much less attractive. Number 11, how would you rate your physical attractiveness now compared to when you were 20? Good question. Same questions, same answers, or same choices. Number 12, are you generally in a positive mood? Whoa, that's deep, and I love that. That's personality, y'all. Are you generally in a positive mood? No negative mood around. Positive, positive, positive energy, positive mood. Get help if you can't do that. And they're asking always, frequently, sometimes, rarely, never. Number 13, when you look at yourself in the mirror, how satisfied are you about the following aspects of your appearance? And you're going to choose from very satisfied, moderately satisfied, neither satisfied nor satisfied, moderately dissatisfied, and very dissatisfied. So, how satisfied are you about your appearance when you look in the mirror? Overall facial attractiveness. How satisfied are you? General muscle tone. Body weight. Overall appearance undressed. Overall appearance dressed. Number 14, when you look in the mirror, does it affect your mood? Always, frequently, sometimes, rarely, never. 15, do you think about how others evaluate your looks? Same choices. 16, compared to 10 years ago, how concerned are you today with others evaluating your looks? How concerned? Increased concern, moderate concern, stayed the same, decreased, decreased greatly. I'm one of those people that really, I'm not concerned. Number 17, does the thought of how others might be perceiving your looks affect your mood? Always, frequently, sometimes, rarely, never. That really shouldn't be something that bothers you, how other people look at your attractiveness. Number 18, compared to 10 years ago, how self-conscious are you today about the following aspects of your appearance? How self-conscious are you? How self-conscious are you? Are you increased greatly, increased moderately, stayed the same, decreased moderately, decreased greatly? Your face. So compared to 10 years ago, how concerned are you about your appearance now? Your face. Your general muscle tone. Your physical fitness. Your body weight. Your being in a style and looking older. How much does it affect you compared to 10 years ago? Looking older is your last one. Number 19, do you think you look younger or older than you are? So the choices are look 10 years younger, look 5 years younger, look your age, look 5 years older, or do you look 10 years older? Important to know. Number 20, about how often do you think about being visibly older and aging? How often do you think about it? Several times a day, daily, several times a week, once a week, monthly, or less? Number 21. To what extent do you think the following will be concerns of yours 10 years from now? Are you extremely concerned to totally unconcerned? Facial wrinkling, graying hair, gaining weight, losing muscle tone, losing your health, having fewer job opportunities, losing your spouse or your partner to a younger person, becoming less sexually attractive, becoming less in control of your life. So these are more quality of life concerns, and I want to know how important is it to you, and it should be very important to you, right? 22, when you form a mental image of what a person ideally looks like at 50 or 60, to what extent is this picture based on? Okay, and the choices are totally, very much, moderately, slightly, not at all. Number 1, based on your own standards, what your mother looked like at that age, what your father looked like at that age, what another important person in your life looked like at that age, or images from the media. 23, do you ever lie about your age? Always, frequently, sometimes, rarely, never. 24, Do you ever think about undergoing cosmetic plastic surgery? Same choices. Part 3. How do others around you feel? That's part 3. To what extent do these aspects of your personal environment support your view of yourself as attractive? Choices are totally, very much, moderately, slightly, not at all. So they want to know how these affect your attractiveness. Your spouse or your life partner, your job or your field work, your friends, your children, your mother, your father, and your siblings. Okay? What extent do these people that we just named affect or support your view of yourself as attractive? How important are they? Totally, very much, moderately, slightly, not at all. I think they all should be important, right? 26. How important have the following been in influencing your feelings about your looks? So they're asking whether you were influenced by your looks when you grew up. Being teased about your looks when you were younger, did that affect you? And they're saying, was it very important, moderately important, slightly important, almost irrelevant, completely irrelevant? Being criticized about your looks by your mother, that's important. Being complimented about your looks by your mother, that's important. Being criticized about your looks by your father, that's important. Being complimented about your looks by your father, that's important. Your mother being criticized about her looks by your father, that's important. Your mother being complimented about your looks by your father. Being rejected by a date or a partner because of your looks. That's important. The general culture emphasis on youth as a criterion of attractiveness. That's important, but not as important. Feeling effective at many things you do in life. Yeah, it's important. Being a spiritual person. That's important. Having other people in your life. Absolutely important. Wearing flattering clothes. I think that's important. Wearing makeup. Yeah. Thinking about your mother's appearance. So. I know that it's going to sort of like reflect how you're going to age. That's why they're saying you should think about your mother's appearance, right? Thinking about your father's appearance. That's for the men. Your father's attitude towards your mother. That is important because that's going to influence how you, again, find people attractive or not based on how you were brought up. Your father's attitude towards you. Absolutely. Part 4, and that's the last part we're going to do. Part 4. Number 27. Do you look at pictures of models in magazines? Always, frequently, sometimes, rarely, never. Do you compare yourself to the people in those images? Same choices. Do you? Shouldn't. Do you carefully study the features of the models in these pictures? Same choices. Do you? Does looking at images of beautiful people make you feel insecure about your own attractiveness? Same choices. Shouldn't. Does looking at images of young people make you feel insecure about your own attractiveness? That could, because you're looking again at aging. 32. Do you compare your level of attractiveness with that of real people you encounter? I don't think you should be wasting your time doing that. But the choices are always, frequently, sometimes, rarely, never. Number 33. Would you like models in magazines to be more representative of a range of ages? Absolutely. The choices are yes or no. That's just my opinion. Yes. 34. Would you like to see more images of people who are aging naturally? Yes. Yeah. For those that are older. But again, that's your choice. Yes or no. Personal background. How old are you? Are you male or female? Are you married? Have you been divorced? Have you been widowed? What is your sexual orientation? And that is the end of that survey. So this was more of trying to make you feel that or know and feel that attractiveness is not the end all be all. It is really quality of life, right? So we know that, but please, I'm talking about attractiveness overall, your weight, right? That is huge. I see that a lot in my practice. Take the time little by little and focus on maintaining a healthy weight for your medical health, your quality of life, and for your relationship. But it's very important to know that yes, it can make you or break you, but don't judge yourself. Be kind, love yourself, and take the steps to improve your attractiveness, including your weight, right? And again, there's so many options now and new injectable options that I love. So please get in touch with your doctor and talk about things like that that could really dramatically impact your life. Okay. All right. One more questionnaire. Hold on. All right. This one is assessing multiple facets of attraction to women and men. And this is coming from psychological scales. Okay. And the reason why I like this one is they are they're really, really into more modern questions. The questions that we went through are okay, but these ones are a little bit more in terms of what's going on nowadays. Okay. So I'm going to just zip through them and I just want you to hear what they're asking. All right. Number 1. Please provide a number between 0 and 100 to represent the percentage of your day-to-day physical attractions which have been directed towards women versus men over the past 6 months. So this is for men and women. So if you're a man, you're going to answer the questions. If you're a woman, you're going to answer the questions because you are going to be able to know your feelings towards the opposite sex or the same sex. You just want to document that. Okay? So you just want to know 0 to 100. How do you feel? Okay? And they want to know in the last 6 months. Now, provide a number from 0 to 100 for the percentage of your emotional attractiveness or attractions which are directed to women versus men. Percentage of emotional attractions directed towards women. All right. So they want to know whether you have been emotionally attracted and what percentage 0 to 100, and whether you've been physically attracted to anybody, man or woman, 0 to 100. Okay. Anybody. Have you felt it? Meaning passionately, or not that much, or there's been nobody in the last 6 months. That's an issue if there's been nobody, right? You're alive, you have a pulse. You've got to have some awareness of people around you and some interaction with people. You don't live in solitary confinement. So you really do need to have some experiences of where you are feeling attractiveness for people. And again, they're saying 6 months. So hey, in the last 6 months, there should have been somebody, okay? And not an animal, okay? All right. Number 3, in general, what percentage of your sexual fantasies have been about women versus men over the last 6 months? I want to know percentage. Are you having fantasies? You should be, because that helps in terms of your sexual drive, your sexual experiences, your quest to find a mate and to be with someone and have a healthy relationship, right? Both in terms of long-term and sexually. So you want to have a relational satisfying relationship and a sexual satisfying relationship. So that is important to know whether you're even thinking about having sex, right? Number 4, how often have you experienced a physical attraction for a woman during the past 6 months? How often? Okay. Almost never, less than once a month, once or twice a month, once a week, more than once a week, every day. Okay, that's going to give you an idea. Number 5, about how many different women have you been physically attracted to in the last 6 months? If you answered 1 on the last question, is there someone that you are currently sexually or romantically involved with now? Yes or no? How often have you experienced an emotional attraction for a woman during the last 6 months? So they're talking about physical attraction and emotional attraction. And the same choices are there. Almost never, less than once a month, once or twice a month, about once a week, more than once a week, about every day. You should, again, have experienced that in 6 months. But again, if you're in a monogamous relationship or you're somebody, that is with that person. if it's one. Number 8, about how many different women have you been emotionally attracted to in the last 6 months? If you answered 1, is this person the one you're romantically involved with now? Number 10, how often have you had sexual fantasies about a woman in general in the past month? 1 month. Almost none. Less than a month. Once or twice a month. About once a week. More than a week. And every day. Number 11. We're almost finished. Number 11. The next question concerns intensity of your physical attractions for women. Okay, so 1 to 5, right? Thinking of all the attractions to women you have experienced in the past 6 months, how would you rate the range? How would you rate the average intensity of those attractions? So 1 to 5. Are you saying no, not much intensity? 1 or 5, extreme intensity in terms of your experience of your attraction, okay? Your physical attraction. How was intensity? 1, not that great. 5, amazingly deep and great. Number 12, how would you rate the intensity of the strongest attraction to a woman that you've experienced in the past 6 months? Isn't that wild? So in the past 6 months, have you had this wild, great, intense emotion or not? Number 13, when you have sexual thoughts about a woman or about women in general, how strong is your desire to engage in sexual activity? Same choices, right? 1, not that much. 5, all the way, maximum desire. Number 14, how often have you experienced a physical attraction for a man during the past 6 months? Almost never, less than once a month, once or twice a month, almost once a week, more than once a week, about every day. Number 15, about how many different men have you been physically attracted to in the past 6 months? Number 16, if you answered 1, is it the person you're currently involved with? Number 17, how often have you experienced an emotional attraction for a man during the past 6 months? Once a week, more than once a week, about every day. About how many different men have you been emotionally attracted to in the last 6 months? If you answered 1, is that your current partner? Number 20, how often have you had sexual fantasies about a man or men in general in the past 6 months? Almost never, less than once a month, once or twice a month, about once a week, more than once a week, about every day. 3 more questions left. Thinking about all the attractions to men that you've experienced in the last 6 months, how would you rate the intensity? Again, 1 to 5. 1, 5, amazing. Number 22. How would you rate the intensity of the strongest attraction to any man that you have met in the past 6 months? Same choice, 1 to 5. 5, amazing. And the last question is, when you have sexual thoughts about a man or men in general, how strong is your desire to engage in sexual activity? Use the same intensity scale, 1 to 5. So this is just a great way of finding out whether you are actually experiencing any of the attractiveness that you're supposed to be experiencing with people in general and your partner if you have a partner. So if you are going to have an issue with that from the questionnaire and find that, ooh, something's off, please, of course, you know what I'm going to say, professional help. I'm going to say, reach out, get someone that will help find out why you are not enjoying or experiencing attractiveness or attraction to someone that will actually possibly be your future mate or future partner, okay? And if you are, good for you. That's what I want. I want you to have a great relationship, enjoy life, because remember, great relationships, great sex prolongs your quality of life and your lifespan, okay? I hope you enjoyed that. So I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Have a great night. Bye.